Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Billion Dollar Banker podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Perrone, and thank you so much for tuning in. Today, I am incredibly excited to have Tom Ferry with us. Tom, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much, Nicole, and excited to share with your audience.
Hey, in the real estate world, I don't think Tom Ferry needs an introduction really, but Tom is one of the number one real estate coaches out there. His coaching clients, I just was talking to him about the front page of his website, earn 8 times the industry average of what real estate agents are earning. And while we're a show that's just for about everyone, Tom, anyone that's looking to achieve more in their lives, we're very real estate focused, being that I'm in the mortgage industry. And Tom, I've been after you for a while to join us. I'm so happy that you took the time to join us. And I loved being at your event last week. How did everything go in Jersey City for your event?
Yeah, I was really happy, and it's obviously it's a pleasure to be on your show. And I've been feel like first time caller, long time listener. Like you've done a really amazing job. So yeah, like I think just like you, like I'm in the business of helping people do better. And I'm in the business of finding people that want to do better. And I think that you and I share a similar, situation. Not everybody wants to sell a lot of houses. Not everybody wants to partner with the right partners. So I think like you, I'm just looking for the ones that want to. Like I'm a flavor, you're a flavor, every agent's a flavor. Like here we go.
Amazing. Well, I absolutely love it. I believe in coaching wholeheartedly. And hopefully today you'll share some of the secrets that listeners wouldn't know if they weren't listening. So obviously you've coached tens of thousands of agents. What's the single most common belief holding a mid-level producer back from breaking into an elite status? And how do they reprogram that?
The number one thing would be the desire for control. They don't trust people. They don't trust others to do the work. So what happens is they just run out of time, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are really good agents. They're good. They're good marketers. They're good negotiators. Everybody can get better, but you know what I mean? But they're good.
Mm-hmm.
Doing deals or selling houses. But the limitation is this word right here. Like they are unable to scale themselves. So it's just a time and capacity issue.
Mm-hmm.
So, when they can finally get over the hurdle and say, okay, maybe somebody could have the listing in the MLS better than me. Maybe somebody could manage this transaction better than me, or at least do it as well as me so I can get more transactions. That's when they grow.
Mm.
And Nicole, you and I both know it's hard. Like
Oh, yeah.
some of us are wired to trust people and to give people the benefit of the doubt. Some of us are wired to like say, here's my process. This is my checklist. Do it this way a couple times. And if you can make it better, make it better. But a lot of us we're not wired that way. We are wired probably because of our parents.
Mm-hmm.
There was no cheating on tests. That's the only way I got through high school. You know what I mean? Like, so we're sort of stuck in this. Nobody could do it better, or worse.
Mm.
They just come from like such a scarcity mindset that they couldn't fathom paying a transaction coordinator $450 to work on the transaction, right? They're only going to sell 6 or 7 homes, so they need every dollar.
Yeah.
You with me? But I think that's the biggest thing. It's like control.
Yeah, it's really interesting because this challenge, right? Your shirt, which is like the first thing I noticed, and it's making me want to really talk about your 8 levels of performance because
Sure.
that really caught my eye. And I think similar to, I mean, this is a challenge that people have in a lot of different industries, right? Not just real estate, but real estate has its specific people that you want to scale with and the kind of processes that you want to go through. But I would totally agree with you, Tom. How would you, I guess, when you think about this 8-level program that you have, which I think so clearly and concisely puts it together, what does that plan look like for agents that are at that level where that's what they do need to do next, but they're lost. They don't know where to start?
Sure. So Nicole, for the person that maybe doesn't have context for this, I have 197 business coaches. We coach clients in 29 countries. We coach people in the real estate business, in the mortgage business, the brokerage business, the recruiting business, the title business, the insurance business, some financial services. I've worked with celebrities. When you do it as much as we've done it, and like I'm 75,000 hours of personal one-on-one coaching sessions in my career, starting back in like 1992. When you've done it for this long, you begin to connect the dots, and everything becomes a pattern. Everything becomes more like Neo in the Matrix. When you finally see the numbers, you know exactly what's happening next.
Mm-hmm.
So what we created was about 15 years ago, what we felt was the best, sharpest, clearest answer to the question we get all the time. How do I go to the next level? How do I take my business to the next level? So we had to figure out, well, what level of performance are you in now? So again, my coach and I got together and we said, well, level one would be pretty obvious. Like you're just getting started. You need to make money now. It's all a sense of urgency. It's a big learning curve, but like that's the first phase. That's the
Mhm.
beginning of being a startup. The second phase is like, okay, now realize I can only call on my past clients in sphere or my past client and my sphere so many times before I figure out this is a marketing game. And if I'm going to be successful in this business, I've got to figure out client attraction. So they start to work on marketing. Then they hit the next ceiling. The next level is they go from what I call being poor to being rich, from being poor to being rich, from being poor. And the reason why they're always in that cycle, that vicious cycle, is they're not consistent,
Mhm.
right? So what they lack is systems and processes. And that's step three. Like that's okay, I realize I can get in the MLS, I can find properties, I can go knock on doors, I can reach out to people, I can shoot videos, but everything I do is inconsistent. So my money's inconsistent. So how do we then move from like by memory to by design? That's level three. Then it's how do I then scale myself? It's getting your first assistant, a VA, getting your son who's 22 and graduated from college, has no idea what he's going to do. And you're like, be my assistant, run
Mhm.
social media, something.
Mhm.
And now again, you get more time back. Now you're able to scale yourself because you're scaling with somebody else. That's four. Five is you're like, look, I need a sales team. Like I always use the example of if you saw I Love Lucy, Lucy and Ethel and the Chocolate Factory,
Mhm.
and I'm probably dating myself, but remember watching the chocolates come down the conveyor belt and their job is to wrap them up and close them. Like that's kind of like get the lead, get them under contract and close them.
Right. Right.
When the manager turned on the machine and the leads were coming in too fast, they were eating the leads, putting them in their hair, putting them in their bra. Like so when
Everywhere.
you do, yeah, when you do that, you're like, maybe I should bring somebody else on to help the buyers.
Mm.
And then it goes to the next level, which is now how do I optimize all profitability and turn this into a true money machine, which starts with no more than 15% of all the transactions that I do, excuse me, that the business does are done by me. So
Mm.
85% of the transaction and the fulfillment of clients is done by others on the team. Now you have a saleable asset. You have
Mhm.
a business that can actually be sold, but it also means you have time to think, to go after
Right.
big whales, to go after channel partners, to go after new methodologies, to explore AI, to do whatever you want to do because the team is now gelled and selling on their own. And then the eighth level is you retire, right? You sell the business, you retire, you merge it with somebody else, and you exit. So we give you that framework. And I know for my friend listening, I know that was a lot really fast. But if you've ever asked yourself, how do I go to the next level of my business? It starts by identifying where you are now and then knowing what does the next level look like. And what I tell people is don't go from three to four, go from three to five.
Mm.
Don't go from four to five, go from four to six, meaning start to build the systems that would support two steps above you. And when you do that, you'll get there faster than going four to five
Mhm.
and then five to six.
Right.
Always build two levels above. So, long answer, Nicole, to your question,
Smart.
but hopefully that brings some value for
No,
people.
it does, and I find that oftentimes, as a leader in this business, coaching and mentoring loan officers, right, kind of the other side of it. Although I realize you coach a lot of different variety of industries. Ultimately, I find often, and I'm curious if you see this in your coaching program, that people just, although they don't have enough time to do everything, they're not sure what to have someone else do. They're
Yeah.
still kind of like, well, I don't even know what I'd have them do. But and I'm like, well, didn't you just talk about how you didn't have the time to do all those other things? And I guess
Right.
that might come back to control. So I love the fact that you've really outlined these stages for people so that they can clearly see it. And there's something about visualizing what the scaling process looks like that can help you kind of see past your own whatever's going around in your head. So I absolutely love that. I think that's key. You talked about consistency a little bit. How can an agent kind of train their mind to stay consistent when the results aren't necessarily consistent, especially during the slower season? You talked recently about how, this is the season, right? The separation season. Tell us a little bit about how your agents and the people that you coach become consistent.
So, people like you and I, certainly people like your friend listening, we've all heard the word disciplines over and over again. We've read the book, The Four Disciplines of Execution. We see like seven habits of highly effective people. I think what a lot of people miss, and I would just say it this simply discipline is doing today what your future self will be grateful for. So
Sure.
if you can wrap your head around that, like I didn't go to the gym this morning thinking this morning I could lose that quarter inch on my waistline. But I knew if I went to the gym this morning in the future, right, when it's summertime again and time to go to the beach, all of a sudden I'm just going to be a little bit thinner and a little better shape.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of the gentleman who wrote the great book, The Slight Edge, Jeff Olson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Olson's, famously took, I think it was Thoreau's quote, do the thing, have the power,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Do not the thing, have not the power. We've all heard 1,000 examples of this. Here's what I want your listener to get. Every day you don't market, you say to yourself, I don't need money in the future. Every day you don't follow up, you say to your future self, you're going to go broke because I'm a candy ass today.
Yep.
Like, I think you've got to start talking to yourself differently,
Mm-hmm.
not beating yourself up, but giving yourself the courage and the reminders to do the things you know you're supposed to do, not for today. Today, I got to follow up on that client because they called me and they're upset, right? Today, I better be inside looking at what loans are about to fund like immediately, because if you miss that stuff, you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
But it's things that we do today that impact the real estate business or the mortgage business in 60, 90, 120, 180 days. And you and I both know sales cycles have become so long when the rates got up into sevens and then, the beginning of the eights,
Yep.
that people were extending out their buying, timeline. So if I'm not following up today,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not reaching out to every person, figuring out where are they now with the cycles and the rates coming to where they're at, I'm going to miss more money than I make. So I don't know if that answers the question. I would just say to the person listening, um, there are probably 6 to 7 things that you have to do every day. Now, your 6, your 7. I know my 6. Nicole knows her 7. You have to know what those are. And what you have to say to yourself is, this is as important as breathing.
Absolutely.
This is like showering, brushing your teeth, and making your calls and doing your follow up and booking an appointment and making sure your marketing goes out, whatever those things are for you. So I don't know if I got the magic answer other than
You
people
did.
that people that don't do the immediate, basically what they love being poor in the future.
By the way, I absolutely love the way you squared in on the camera when you said that, because I think that's what people need. I know when I hear something, if I was listening to this podcast right now or just listening to you specifically talk about that, I would have been lit up to like, okay, I got to get up. I got to get after it. And so many of us are working in remote environments. The energy's not around. We're not hearing the person next to us like, oh, wow, they're killing it on the phone. Like, how do you feel like that shifted consistency in the industry or beyond in any industry for people?
So I am the biggest advocate of working inside an office around other professionals. I think it is an abomination that people work from home today.
Mm,
I am so, and I mean, look, my company, like, so I have 3 office locations, and I would be in the office 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And one of my employees hears this, they know I'm talking to them. I say, you got to be in the office Monday through Thursday. I'll give you that Friday flex day. And it was a pain to get them to accept that,
wow.
because there was nothing better than watching your cat and walking your dog while you're supposed to be making phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing better than picking up your kids from school. I get it. I'm a dad. I get it.
Yeah.
You have a job and a responsibility. And if you're a business owner, you have to be in an environment where people are productive. If
Right.
you're in an environment where, so Nicole, just for the record, I was talking about this stuff like 15, 20 years ago. This
Yeah.
is the work from home environment. It's not a new conversation. I'm like,
Right.
my buddy is the CEO of a very famous publicly traded company. Let's just call it like Fortune 200.
Okay.
During the pandemic, they would hire all these young, really talented, smart kids from college,
Mm-hmm.
and then they would send them to their home and say, get on a Zoom meeting. And instead of listening to the investment bankers and the deal doctorers and the problem solvers and the leaders in the company, they were never in those Zoom meetings. So they weren't invited in those Zoom meetings. Those meetings were happening like, hey, let's you and I go for a walk around the lake.
Yep.
So,
Wow.
so if you're working from home, my advice is go get in a professional office.
Right.
That's I don't know if that was the question, but otherwise it's really hard to be competitive already.
Yep. No, I think there's some real data behind that. I always reference it to like when you were newer in the business, but there's absolutely a motivation factor, or there's a demotivating factor, like depending on the culture and the energy at your office. But I do think it's big. It's a different world we're in because of COVID, and kind of pushed us a little bit further down that line of remote work. At your event, you talked a lot about technology. It's another new world we're in. It's advancing rapidly. I learned so much just listening to you that day. What can you share with us today about what everyone should be looking out for in the world of technology?
I'm a big fan of all things technology. I launched my first website in 1995. I was on try to think of all the different sites, MySpace, then the
Hmm.
Facebook, then, whatever, like you name it, I'm on it. The thing that I know to be true is technology does not care about you.
Mm.
Technology only cares about one thing: keep moving things forward, make things faster, make things better, make things more efficient, make things right, make it easy for customers to make decisions. So, what I would stress to the person listening today, I literally, Nicole, on my last session, I was working with a bunch of the top geographic farmers, right, in the country that are inside of our coaching community. And someone might say, that's old school. Well, not if you're mailing postcards that say 82% of consumers now look online for both an agent and their home. Find out how this is impacting your home's value. QR code on a postcard to one of my clients' blogs where they're writing about it and explaining how the world is shifting towards this and what a consumer needs to think about now, especially with Zillow's app now being inside ChatGPT and the
Right.
limited amount of content that Zillow is allowing to be there, which is actually making the home search inside of ChatGPT, as cool as that could have been,
Right. Right.
horrible, right?
Yeah.
It's bad for the consumer. So I would tell everybody, go grab somebody else's phone, not your own. Don't do
Mm.
it on your own phone because it'll be biased. And just go to Perplexity, ChatGPT, and Grok and type in who is the number one agent, and then your community,
Mm.
your city, your church group, your pickleball club, your whatever, from your university that sells houses now in Hoobie-Doo, wherever you live. And if your name doesn't show up, your name doesn't show up.
Hmm.
That is what we talked about at the conference was these are easy things to solve.
Right.
82% of consumers are now using an AI platform. Think about it, like, you know, Gen X, Gen Z, my goodness, 65-year-olds, 7-year-olds, they all have access to it. Some are doing it on Gemini, some are doing it on Microsoft, but they're using AI to find what they want. And AI searches are so much more effective today than going on Google, which is totally antiquated. So
Hmm.
I would just say to the listener, you better figure out how you're going to show up. Because if you don't, someone else is going to show up and they're going to get that client.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I think like we've been tasked in sales in general and in a lot of industries to change quick, like quick pivot. It happens, you got to go. And I don't think there's ever been a greater time than there is right now, at least from what I've seen in business. And so there was a lot of great information you had at your event. Do you have another event coming up anywhere nearby anytime soon? Is that something that you could let us know about today?
So I don't know when this show is going to be released, but I know I'm going to be in the month of November. I'll be in Philadelphia.
Oh,
I'm going to
great.
be in DC. I'm going to be in the Boston area. And
Okay.
again, these are all broad, Philly could be, West could be the city. I don't know. But I know I'll be there. And then I'm going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina and Austin. I feel like a
Hmm.
professional comedian right now. And hey, on my next show, make sure you see me at,
That's
but
it.
I do
Well, you're
about
doing a tour. You're on tour.
100%. I do
Yeah.
about 40 of those a year, and then I do about 15 events that are just for our clients.
Mm.
Tomorrow, Nicole, I have, or actually, I guess tonight, technically,
Hmm.
Tim Grover, who's was Michael Jordan's coach and Kobe Bryant's trainer,
Right.
meeting at my house for dinner with about 38 like rock star agents, broker owners, etc. Tomorrow, I'm
Amazing.
doing an all-day mastermind with like a bunch of a very intimate, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do those two, but for the most part, I'd say go to tomferry.com or go to AI and say, hey, when's Tom Ferry coming near my town?
There you
See what
go. I love that. All right, I'm going to hit you with a couple questions just, for kind of market mastery and just thinking
yeah.
long-term strategy. In this high rate environment, low inventory in a lot of areas, what's the top strategy that's still producing consistent closings for your clients?
So I would say there's basically what we refer to as the core six. So I'll give you the core six and then recognize that for the listener, the reason why you want to have six is because one or two are usually hot and four are just kind of okay. And as markets pivot and adjust,
Hmm.
you want to have a wide variety of ways that you attract clients and not be a one trick pony. So when the market shifts, you could be in trouble. So first and foremost would be their database, right? Their past clients, their sphere, and every Tom, Dick, and Harry they put inside their phone where they have no contact information,
Hmm.
sending text messages, sending unsolicited CMAs to every person you've ever sold a home to or want to sell their home, and following up, Nicole, with the script that we shared at the event. Like
Right.
just doing those two things, it certainly gets you in the door, right? The second one was you better be AI searchable, which means you need to redo and reimagine all of your bios across every major platform. So all the meta platforms, Facebook, Instagram, etc., your own website, your Google business page, your MLS, your company's page, Fast Expert, Total Expert, every site where you can say Tom Ferry, real estate agent specializing in the DFW, has sold more than 350 homes in the last 10 years with 1,500 five-star reviews. If you're not blogging today by answering the questions that are on the minds of consumers, go to answerthepublic.com, type in real estate, hit search. There's like 2,700 questions consumers are asking.
Wow.
The AI, whichever your flavor is, can write the blogs for you, read them, edit them, and post 3 to 5 a day and watch what happens. You're going to start getting calls like, hi, we're going to buy a house in Chattanooga. We'd like to buy a house from you. Hi, we're thinking about selling our home in Subaru. We'd like to sell with you. So that would be 2. Number 3 would be the traditional stuff, geographic farming, because you want consistent listings and you want to control a marketplace. And everybody knows how to geo farm. 4 would be open houses, because they're a great source, but not if you put out one sign and you don't market it. You got to market the open house. You got to shoot a video about the open house. You got to knock on doors to meet the neighbors, because you're doing the open house to attract sellers.
Sure thing.
You're showing them how you do what you do to attract sellers. Number 5 is the silver tsunami. Nicole, it's where's all the equity right now in homes in the United States? Are they owned by 32-year-olds or are they owned by 75-year-olds? We all know the answer, right? So if you're not consistently marketing to the silver tsunami in your marketplace, you're just declaring loss when victory is available. And there's a horrible truth about someone that owns a home who's 85 years old, or maybe even 78 years old. Their agent isn't even alive anymore. Right. So you have to be marketing to these people if you want that opportunity. And then the last one's going to flip to, it could be expired listings in your marketplace because they're there and you're good and you care and you want to help them. Or it could be digital advertising, right? It could be arbitraging, Zillow, Realtor, any one of those. It could just be Google Local Services ad. It could be Facebook ads, but it's where you're doing some push advertising to attract people that like you. So those are the core 6. I don't believe that there's one that you can do that's going to make you the money you want, with the leverage you want, with the brand you want. So you've got to have multiple ways of doing it. And that's how you really kind of get rid of the poor, rich, and you go rich, more rich, even more rich, a little less rich, but still rich, and then more rich again.
There you go. Well, I think people like that climb a lot better. And I'll say that I'm sure when our listeners heard you go through that, all of the things that you have to do and redo this engine and that engine, and sometimes you could just feel frozen, like, wow, that's so many things. It's just, we have to, I think, any advice you have on just taking action, I think would be so helpful, because the reality is, no matter what industry we're in, even at your level with who you're having dinner with tonight and masterminding with, like, it's a constant, you have to constantly be ready to learn and change and grow and fall in love with this process somehow, and not see it as, oh, now I got to change this again. I got to learn that again. So tell us how you just kind of get through that paralysis place where you're like, there's just so much to do here.
I don't see. This shirt says scale. I have another one that says you're going to die. I have another one that says no one cares.
Yeah.
See, I learned a long time ago that whatever you say to yourself over and over again becomes your reality. And I don't like wake up at 4:45 in the morning anymore and do affirmations and like affirm myself but doing that for like 15 years created such a pathway in my neural pathway to be like, when something needs to be done, I do it.
So you're just wired that way now at this point. It's just, you go.
Right. I had the same conversation with like Tony Robbins. I'm like, do you really have to like, I'm alive, excited, full of it. Like, do you have to do it? He's like, no. He's like, but I still do it. I go, well, me too, before an event. So what I would say to the person is, you probably don't have a time management problem. You probably have a prioritization issue. You probably are allowing too many things to come at you. And what I tell people, like, Nicole, at your level, I don't say like, hey, what else do we need to do? I usually start with like, what do you need to stop doing? What do you need to cut? What no longer serves you? What activities no longer serve you? What do you do that you've always done because you've always done it? Because it's like warm milk, right? It like makes you feel satisfied, but it doesn't actually move the needle. And for most high performers, it is more about, how do I need to cut? What do I need to get off my, maybe it still needs to be done, but it's got to be done by somebody else.
Right.
But I think like if you can get that, if you could be honest with yourself, and here we are like in October, staring down like 72 days left as we film this before the end of the year, what do you need to stop doing in order to have a breakthrough next year? Then I ask, what has to be true? What has to be true for me to go from maybe undisciplined to more disciplined in this one or two areas? And I get very honest with myself. Well, maybe I got to stop drinking.
Mhm.
Hey, maybe I need to not try and go from waking up at 7 to start at 4:45, but maybe just go from 7 to 6:30.
Right.
And
Right.
maybe in December, let me see if I can get to 6,
Yep.
right? Maybe what I really need to do is go to bed a little earlier. Maybe what I need to do is not be on my phone all night long
Hmm.
and instead put my phone over there in the corner and just like actually let my mind unwind a little bit. Like I'm always looking for those little things. And Nicole,
Right.
I still do that stuff today. I
Hmm.
still do all that stuff because
Hmm.
I'm running like 7 companies and I've got investments in 100 companies that I care about. And
Yeah.
then I have to go speak and then I have to go coach and I have to do podcasts and I'm going to go out and hang out with my 98-year-old mother-in-law. I'm going to go walk my dog. I'm going to get 9 more phone calls. Like we're all getting it all the time.
Yeah. It doesn't, that's the thing too. It never stops. It,
Oh,
especially as that income grows and as those responsibilities grow,
yes.
it becomes
Yes.
more. So managing it is so important.
Yeah.
I
I
love,
heard,
we should all aspire to have that take action mentality. And I'm sorry, what were
yes.
you going to say?
I said, I just was listening to this, the Walter Isaacson, who wrote the bio on Elon Musk, talked about his ability to task switch. And I
Mm.
don't have it down yet. I'm super inspired, but he's like, think about this. He's in a meeting trying to figure out how to get a rocket to not blow up. Then he transitioned to how do we build the robots? Then he's like, how do we build these like giant tunnels that are safe so we can transport cars so eventually we can transport to Mars? Then I got the solar business. Then I got to say hi to my kid. Then I got to get some food. Then I got to hop on a jet and go to another meeting. Like, how does he do it?
Right.
And for him, it's funny. Like the way he describes it, he's like deeply focused, no distractions.
Hmm.
And then he plays video games for like 5 or 6 minutes to
Does
switch
he?
his brain.
Wow.
And like that's his way. Like I might meditate or
Uh-huh.
do something physical, like to change my pattern. And then he goes into the next meeting completely focused. Then he plays a video game. Now, some people out there are going to go, "Oh, so Ferry's telling us we should play video games." I'm just telling you what he does,
Something to
right? Like,
pattern switch, something to get you out of that
exactly.
whatever you were in. And by the way, that's incredibly difficult to do. It really is, to especially like probably the most common example is you're done working, you go home and your family's there and you got to leave the day behind, that last phone call behind. And
Right.
when you're talking about it at another level from company to company, it's so critical, and not letting these things weigh you down. All right, one more question for you. This is amazing. I would love to be like a fly on the wall there with you tonight to see what this mastermind is like, but I think you get a taste of these types of things and this input from you at your events, which I'm so happy there's more coming. What is one underestimated daily habit that if every agent did it for 90 days, that it would change their production forever?
Hmm.
Like I have to hit you with the one. Zoom in
I
on
know,
the scale.
like I don't ever believe in like one thing
Yeah.
because what might resonate for you might not resonate for me. You know what I mean? So I struggle with the one thing
Okay.
concept. Um, I, if I kept it super simple, I'd be like, uh, the number one thing would be, what are my 6 to 7 daily non-negotiables?
Okay.
And if I could just do those 6 or 7 things, like, but you got to be very precise about it. It's like, so for me, like, I know I got to exercise because I know at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, if I don't have the energy.
Right. It's
You have,
gone.
you're right. I don't want coffee, right? Like, screw that. Like,
Hmm.
I want natural energy. So that would be like one. I'd also say, like, I know having an 8 sleep mattress in both my houses that makes my bed super cold, allows me to go to sleep really quick, get 7.5 to 8 hours of sleep. And when I do that, I'm unstoppable, right? But like for the person listening, I would ask you, like, can you shift and align the 3, 5, 7 things that if you did those 6 days a week for an entire year without ever deviating from it, that it wouldn't help you get your goals. You'd probably 2, 3, 4, 5x your business because you've got so much momentum on your side. It's like the
Mm-hmm.
tiny pebble
Mm-hmm.
example, right,
Mm-hmm.
Nicole, that
Sure.
it starts to go down the mountain and then it starts to pick up some steam. And then next thing you know, there's multiple boulders. And next thing you know, you got an avalanche.
Yep. Yep.
It's not one thing.
It's not one thing. Well, don't tell the guy that wrote the book the one thing that,
I
I mean,
know.
we're gonna have to
I,
tag him here. But
yeah.
no, the one thing is the 6 or 7 things. It's those non-negotiables. That's the one thing. I always love the analogy of like the big rock analogy, where you put the big rocks in the vase, and then you put the water in the sand. It's the big rocks, right? That's the
That's
thing.
it.
Yeah. So you know what, Tom, I gotta say, like, it's so incredible to have someone like you on the show. I know how meaningful your work is. I can't imagine anything more inspiring than helping people reach their desired goals in life. So having you join has been incredible. We have a lot of realtors watching. I hope some of them join you at your next event, and I hope to see more of you too. Thank you so much for joining us today.
All right. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for doing what you're doing. And for my friend watching, follow me on Instagram. Let's connect there. You can DM me anytime. I do a lot of Q&A. And Nicole, assuming I'll see you in Miami at a conference soon.
Yes, I will be there. Just about a week away. All right. This is a lot of Tom
All right.
Ferry then. I'll put all the details in the description below, guys. Go check out Tom. Tom, I'll see you in Miami.
Appreciate you, Sue.
All right.
Take care.
Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.